putting my years as a stripper to good use, it's time for the most seductive show on the airwaves. I'm Donavyn, and this is Raw Dialogue. Welcome to the program. This is Raw Dialogue, the show in which I try to seduce you with information, and when that doesn't work, I promise you I'll have the strippers back soon. As you'll notice, some of the shows on this program will discuss my background, where I come from, psychology, sex, your questions, and the nightlife, while other broadcasts like tonight's will bore into politics, and I'll do my best to motivate people to turn off the TV and get involved with your local government and take them back. So stick with the show tonight. We'll have some valuable information people need to be made aware of. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say, hope you enjoyed the panel last week. The girls had a really great time. We look forward to having them back on a regular basis to address your questions and mine, and whatever else I feel would be fun to quiz them about. Speaking of questions, though, I didn't give out the email last week. If you have any questions you'd like to bring to me or you want me to bring to the panel, the email is askallie@rawdialogue.com. And when I get the ladies back on in a few weeks, we'll discuss your questions and anything else that comes up. Also, if you're ever looking for more information about the broadcast, getting in touch with me, all the information is available on the website. That's www.rawdialogue.com. And I do my best to post videos and relevant information about the broadcast on the Facebook page. Just click on the Facebook link on the homepage to get connected there. Okay, so tonight, I recently read an article that got under my skin some and has given rise to the discussion topics tonight. The article, some of you may have seen it comes from Las Vegas Sun. It was on Thursday, March 8th, and was written by Anjanette Damon. It's titled, "Smart Meters Spawn Conspiracy Talk. They Know What You're Watching on TV." And the article goes on to mock those, I should say, concerned about the installation of these smart meters, calling them, actually, why don't I just go ahead and read it, first three paragraphs of this article, and I'll give her the chance to tell you what she had to say about it. But she says, the tiny box NV Energy is installing on customers' homes to monitor energy use and transmit that data to the company has become the latest target of activists. Many critics of smart meters have raised legitimate concerns about the collection of detailed data and raised issues about the possible effects of radiation emitted by the devices. But more vocal opponents who have flooded recent hearings before the Public Utility Commission have relied on dubious exaggerations that echo enduring conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hats, black helicopters, fluoride in the water, etc., etc. So that was her thoughts on that. So this is what's kind of spawned the debate that we're going to have tonight, or the discussion, I should say. Well, I'm sure nearly everyone listening knows about the smart meters being installed. If you live here, it's going on everywhere. You can't really miss it. So while I'm sure you're aware of that, regardless of what your thoughts are on it, I'd be willing to guess you're not as familiar with how the smart meters are tied into United Nations Agenda 21 and sustainable development. And now you're probably thinking, United Nations, what does that even have to do with me? Why do I care about it? They don't, influence policy in the United States. And let me tell you, if you value your property rights and your privacy, stay tuned. Rosa Corey, author, speaker, and activist from California, who has far more experience on this than I do, will be joining us on the other side of this break to break down Agenda 21 and how it relates to you and what you can do about it. I'm Allie D. You're listening to Raw Dialogue on News Talk 720 KDWN. Stick with me. It's estimated that 25 to 30,000 shelter animals are killed in Clark County, Nevada each year. And of those animals, more than 65% of the dogs euthanized are identified as pit bulls. The majority are gentle, loving pets who are abandoned to the streets or surrendered by their owners. They are killed simply because the shelters do not have enough room to keep them all. It's a devastating situation, and it's made worse by irresponsible pet owners. If you're looking for a family pet, no matter what kind of dog you desire, Bully Buddies of Las Vegas would like to urge you to take in a rescue animal and help just save some of these precious lives. If you have a heart for bullies and would like to become a foster home, volunteer, make a donation, sponsor a kennel, or get information about this breed, please visit www.bullybuddiesLV.org. That's BULLIE buddieslv.org. And always remember, animals are a lifetime commitment. Please continue to be a responsible pet owner. Okay, welcome back to the program. You're listening to Raw Dialogue. I'm your host, Allie D., and joining the program from California is Rosa Corey, the Executive Director of the Post-Sustainability Institute. She is a forensic commercial real estate appraiser specializing in eminent domain valuation. Her nearly 30 years of experience analyzing land use and property value enabled her to recognize the planning revolution sweeping the country. While fighting to stop a huge redevelopment project in her city, she researched the corporate, political, and financial interests behind it and found UN Agenda 21. Impacting every aspect of our lives, UN Agenda 21 sustainable development is a corporate manipulation using the green mask of environmental concern to forward the globalist plan. Rosa speaks across the nation and is a regular blogger on her website, Democrats Against United Nations Agenda21.com, or actually that's Democrats Against UN Agenda21.com. That's her website. I do apologize. Her new book, Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21, is available on Amazon. And I've also posted a link to it on rawdialogue.com. Thank you for bringing your experience to the program. Rosa, are you there?
Yes, I sure am. Thanks so much, Allie, for having me.
Where should we start with this madness?
Wow. Well, there's a whole lot to talk about here. And, we could talk about your leadoff, which was your article that appeared in your local Las Vegas newspaper.
Yes, the smart meters. Maybe you could help us understand how that ties into this whole...
Well, that I just want to, of course, people are sharp enough to recognize that that is a propaganda article that was written for the newspaper to let you know that if you question anything like smart meters or United Nations Agenda 21 sustainable development, that you are going to be marginalized and mocked and embarrassed or shamed by the newspaper or by your government or by whoever it is that thinks that they can get away with that.
It was pretty blatant. Yeah.
Those days are kind of over now. So I just want to say that smart meters, of course, they have that great little jargon name, SMART. They're not smart. What they are is, even if you're not talking about potential health issues, they are on your gas, your electric, and your water now, all across not just the United States, but the world. And they're part of a huge technological grid that is actually remotely controlled. Your gas and electric meter now can be shut off without anyone coming to your property. And new appliances are on the way that have chips in them that connect with those meters that can be shut off during the day or whenever you're using them. They can be turned off remotely without you having any control over that.
Oh, that's really interesting. So you're saying that if I'm technically in the future, I could be watching TV, I could be using my blender, and they can just turn those specific appliances off?
Yes, that's right.
Wow.
That's exactly right. And, when you're talking about, hey, let's just look at Las Vegas, right? Now, air conditioning, according to United Nations Agenda 21 Sustainable Development, which we're going to talk about, air conditioning is unsustainable.
What does that mean?
Well, let's talk about that. The United Nations in 1987 identified certain behaviors and certain buildings and certain types of usage as being unsustainable. And everyone now pretty much has heard of sustainable development, but this is where that term comes from. It comes from the United Nations. In 1987, the UN Commission, the World Commission on Environment and Development, defined sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs.
So,
and with that,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, so what that meant then was they basically decided that yes, everything we were doing now was in fact compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. This is just rhetoric. It really is difficult to define what they meant by that, but what they defined as unsustainable is single-family residences, appliances, air conditioning, meat eating, dams, reservoirs, and in fact, even farming, because it releases greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere. Even farming, tillage, is unsustainable.
This sounds absolutely ridiculous. Why? I mean, how could they possibly think that something that we're already doing today is going to be unsustainable in the future? I mean, that's absurd.
Well, it's actually identified as being unsustainable right now, and the process. What they did was they defined those things as being unsustainable, and then they decided that they needed an action plan to change our behavior and to change our land use all across the world. And they came up with United Nations Agenda 21, which is the agenda for the 21st century. That's why it's called that.
Okay.
We don't call, I'm not calling it that. That's what the UN called it. And it was signed on to by George H.W. Bush in 1992.
Yeah, was that at the Rio de Janeiro development?
Yes, at the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, and that was in 1992. 179 nations signed on to it, along with the United States. So,
just so the folks know really quick, this is an actual document. You can go on Google. You can, put Agenda 21 in quotes, and you can find a PDF of the entire document.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have it on my website. If you go to Democrats Against UN Agenda21.com, on our source page, we have a link to it, and you can just go right there and read it.
Okay.
And of course, when you read that, a lot of those terms are jargon terms. They mean something different to us when we read them than what they mean to someone else who's keyed into this. For instance, the word change. To us, the word change and I am a liberal Democrat, so I don't want you to, think that this is a nonpartisan issue.
Indeed.
What we're talking about.
Indeed, it is.
So it doesn't. It's an American issue. Because this is a blueprint. It's the action plan to inventory and control all land, all water, all minerals, all plants, all animals, all humans, and all means of production in the world.
Yeah, I was going to say really quick. I first came across one of your speeches to a Tea Party on YouTube. That was probably about 6 months ago, and I do remember your story about being a Democrat. And this does tend to be a conservative show, but I do want to say that this is, as you said, it's an American issue. This is not a partisan issue. I do agree with you on that, and I appreciate that. So.
Yeah, and it's been really quite an experience for me to speak to mainly Republicans or Tea Party groups or libertarian groups, as well as property rights groups and totally nonpartisan groups all around the United States. Because I think that what's happening now is that people are recognizing that we need to unify and stop this across the country and stop being fragmented by issues that are, just placed in our way in order to keep us apart.
Yes, to keep us fighting and not get anything done.
Right, exactly.
So let's take a look at this Agenda 21. You were saying that there's a lot of jargon words in here. Why don't we break down some of those words that we might be somewhat familiar with and what they actually mean?
Well, for instance, the word sustainability. Okay, you're out there.